This is illegal fly tipping on an epic news scale, the work of some of Britain's richest waste dumpers.
What have you done with the money, Mr. Steele?
Criminals who've littered our countryside with massive piles of used tyres, many large enough to be seen from space. Some are on the run in the sun, having pocketed the money British motorists pay to have their used tyres recycled.
So are you going to go back to the UK to face justice,
It's a rip-off so lucrative, criminal gangs now smuggle our waste tyres and spread pollution halfway around the world.
These are people that are making money and laughing in the face of the law and indeed the general public.
And on the high street, motorists are handing over millions to help the environment, but secret filming reveals sometimes what we're told is wrong.
Yeah, the government now insists that you have to charge a disposal fee.
Mallorca, a sunny place for some shady people. Amid the big yachts and beautiful surroundings, I've come on the trail of two British criminals who are on the run. This unlikely pair of Bonnie and Clydes are facing a possible 5-year prison sentence. It's taken weeks of undercover investigation to track them down, and now I'm trying to draw them to this cafe in the capital, Palma. But they don't show up, for now. Stephen and Amy Marlowe ran a recycling scam here in North Wales. They collected fees from garages to dispose of thousands of waste tyres. Then they would rent farm warehouses to put them in. Like this one. 3 years ago, they told the owner, Maria Burt, they were bringing in a shredding machine to help recycle the tyres. So he started bringing the tyres in, and from that end started piling them up on top of each other. How many tyres would he bring in at any one time, do you know?
It could be 50 or 60 tyres, or it could have been a couple of hundred.
As the tyre mounting grew, still no sign of a shredding machine.
He was saying, well, I haven't got quite enough money to purchase the machine. And then when he did have the money, he said, oh, it's going to be delivered in a fortnight's time. And then when it didn't appear, it was, oh, there's been a delay, it will come.
Then one day the Marlowes disappeared. They'd been there for just over 5 weeks. And in those 5 or 6 weeks, how many tyres do you think he'd actually put in this site?
Well, it was about 25,000.
25,000? And this is what Maria was left with. Tyres piled up inside and out. The Marlowes' few weeks of work netted them more than £15,000.
Every morning you wake up, you think, well, the first thing that comes into your head is, I've got to get rid of those tyres. How do I do it? I haven't got the money to do it. How do I get the money?
Maria has borrowed over £30,000 from friends and family to get some of the tyres taken away. The job was finished by the Environment Agency in January at taxpayers' expense because of the fire risk it posed to local communities. The Marlowes moved on to another victim nearby, dumped another 1,000 tyres and disappeared. The vast majority of motorists willingly pay garages and tyre fitters an environmental charge to recycle their used tyres. More than £55 million is raised this way each year, but the garages then pay others to recycle the tyres, sometimes people like the Marlowes.
You're paying a price there to have your tyres disposed of in an environmentally friendly manner. So you're being duped, you're being ripped off in actual fact by these criminals, because they are criminals. These are people that are making money and laughing in the face of the law and indeed the general public.
Back in Mallorca, and we're still trying to meet up with the Marlows. Life on the run doesn't seem too bad. Stephen Marlowe's enjoying a rock and roll lifestyle with the money he's made. He plays in a band, and he has changed his name to Stevie Ray to keep one step ahead of the authorities. We've arranged a meeting, telling him we want to hire his band, but he doesn't show up. Then he tells us to meet him in nearby Magaluf. Again, he doesn't show. Just as we're about to give up, we get a tip-off. He's at a bar back in the capital.
Raphael Rowe from the BBC Panorama. You're on the run.
No,
Why are you
man.
on the run? You dumped thousands of tyres.
Don't touch my car.
Can you please tell us why you dumped thousands of tyres on innocent people in North Wales and then come running here too? Are you going to go back to the UK to face justice, Stevie Ray?
Stephen Marlowe's a small link in a chain that deals with the 55 million tyres that are taken off Britain's cars and trucks every year. There are strict environmental controls about how they should be disposed of, but the reality can be different. Vast illegal dumps in the British countryside, some so big they can easily be picked out by satellites in space. 100,000 tyres here left on a remote farm in the Worcestershire countryside. Further north, 300,000 were abandoned in an industrial estate in Mexborough, Yorkshire. And then south again to the biggest of them all. At one point, there were over 2 million tyres dumped at this secluded site in the Hampshire countryside. This should not be happening. The so-called green fee we pay to tyre fitters and garages was introduced by the industry to ensure our tyres are recycled. It's usually between £1 and £2 per tyre, but it's optional. So what happens if you ask about it when you visit some big high street tyre fitters?
There's always a disposal fee because we have to pay to get rid of those horrible things over there, which are your old tyres. We do have to get rid of those, so we do have to charge a £2 disposal fee.
Is that like a legal thing for...
It is, yeah. Yeah, the government now insists that you have to charge a disposal fee.
That's wrong. It's nothing to do with the government. Eventually the fitter agrees our reporter could take the tyres away herself.
If you want to, but what are you going to do with a pair of old tyres?
I was just wondering...
And, you know, I'm already saving you £50 on the previous quote that you've had.
At a second Halfords, the optional fee was non-negotiable.
I thought I could take the tyres away or something like that after it.
You can take it away, but obviously the disposal cost is still incorporated in the cost of the...
Oh, is it? How much is it roughly?
What's that?
How much does the disposal cost roughly?
Normally around about £2 a tyre.
So even if we disposed of the tyres ourselves, this branch of Halfords would still charge a disposal fee. We visited several other high street tyre fitters and they gave us confusing information, but Halfords got it plain wrong. In a statement, Halfords said,
Our colleagues correctly stated that it's a legal requirement to dispose of tyres properly, and our price for disposal reflects all the costs incurred. There was no intent to give the wrong information, and we apologise if we weren't clear enough on the reasons for the disposal fee we charge. We will ensure customers receive a clear answer to this question in the future. Halfords disposes of all tyres by legal and professional means.
so where is the money we pay tyre fitters and garages going to? They use some of it to pay tyre collectors, who are licensed by the Environment Agency to recycle our old waste tyres.
we collect in the region of about 30 tonne a day, and you can see this is just a general daily amount of tyres.
Andy Carlin's firm collects from dozens of garages all around Gloucestershire and Worcestershire.
This will all be gone. It'll all be processed today.
The green fee garages charge motorists has barely changed, commonly around £1.50 per tyre. However, Andy Carlin has seen the money he gets from the garages drop.
4 years ago, you could get a good price from over £1 a tyre, 85p. Now it's being driven lower than that, and it's down to as low as 65p. And that's a big cut.
Industry insiders say the fee is being misused as a profit stream for the tyre fitters and retailers.
The green fee for the proper disposal of tyres is a good system if that green fee is used appropriately. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, and it's been in existence now for 30 years, quite a few retailers have taken advantage of this, have charged the customer for the safe disposal, and then used that money really to increase their profits.
The recycling fee motorists pay raises £50 million a year. But here is a scene that betrays that green promise. But this is the dirty secret of the motor industry. Millions of tyres like this dumped illegally around the UK. This site in Yorkshire contains 120,000 tyres. They were dumped here by a Lincolnshire tyre collector called Carl Steele. Carl Steele charged garages 70p for every tyre that he took away from their site before dumping them here and walking away with £80,000 in cash. For nearly 2 years, his fleet of vans travelled across the country picking up tyres. His fee undercut all his legitimate rivals. The garages didn't question the low price. It meant more profit for them. Steele then dumped over 1 million tyres across England.
Basically what he did was, when the guard was down of landowners and the like, he exploited that by just dumping tyres wholesale without any due regard to what he was going to do with those tyres and to deal with them in a legal manner.
Carl Steele notified the Environment Agency he was going to store tyres in the thousands, but he was actually dealing in hundreds of thousands. Steele was prosecuted and spent 4 months in jail. The court ordered him to pay back up to £2.5 million.
Do you have anything to say to the people who had to clean up the mess? What have you done with the money, Mr. Steele?
Steele says he's spent it. He's been served with a proceeds of crime order to pay it back. So far he's handed over just £122. So who's regulating the disposal of tyres in Britain? At the moment, the industry does it itself. The Tyre Recovery Association audits and speaks for the country's big tyre recycling firms. These companies process up to 80% of used tyres in this country.
I think self-regulation works well. We operate a voluntary best practice scheme in this country, the Responsible Recycler Scheme, which covers between 70 and 80% of national arisings, and that's the largest scheme of its sort in Europe. The problem we face is that at the margins there are operators who work to different standards to ourselves.
It's left to the Environment Agency to police those on the margins. A convoy of police and Environment Agency officials is off to raid a tyre firm in the north of England.
Give us a shout when you're ready and we'll come in.
There's 4 males have been detained at the present moment in time. We're unsure of their identities. We're going to go in a few moments when the police have secured the area.
Hundreds of tyre collectors are outside the industry self-regulation scheme.
The Environment Agency are getting tough like you see today, but do they have the resources to police the collectors, the garages and the retailers?
They have £17 million a year to tackle waste crime. Not enough, say those representing the tyre recycling industry.
The main issue in all of this is enforcement and observance of duty of care. And if some people at the margins of our business decide to disregard their duty of care, and if the enforcement regime is inadequate, then we will continue to have problems.
Those problems include a series of tyre dump fires across Britain. An alleged illegal dump went up in flames in Swansea last year. Some local residents began filming, little knowing how long the smoke would hang over the city. Day 2 of the fire, and the Environment Agency is checking what is actually in those black clouds. One man, however, is taking no risks. The gas mask could come in useful. Smoke from tyre fires often contains hydrogen cyanide.
We generate a lot of black smoke, which is composed of very fine particles, which can penetrate very deeply into the lungs, carrying cancer-causing chemicals into the body. You also then have to spray water on these fires to put them out, and that can carry a large number of chemicals with the water into the local watercourses.
The Swansea fire lasted 3 weeks, costing £1.5 million to put out. 3 people have been arrested and bailed over the dump. Job creation through the green economy is a government priority. In Exeter, Henry Hodge has a recycling business which should be a great British success story. He has a contract to deliver thousands of tyre bales to a landfill several miles away. The bales are used to line the site to stop toxic chemicals leaking into the groundwater. As a waste product, it's more environmentally friendly than the quarried stone it replaces. However, Henry has a problem. His supply of tyres is drying up.
It's a shrinking number of tyres that we can actually get hold of at the moment. Is this threatening your business? Yeah, it is having a knock-on effect directly to our business, yes.
What kind of effect is that having?
It's whether we can actually pitch for these contracts for large numbers of bales, you know, for next year, or are we going to have to go back to our clients and say, sorry, next year you're going to have to revert to using stone.
Panorama has found recycling firms like his are already facing closure or making redundancies because of a shortage of tyres. The crisis is spreading to other industries. In this cement factory, shredded tyres are used as fuel, a more environmentally friendly and cheaper alternative to coal. But now they can't find enough tyres.
Naturally, we're very concerned, having invested millions of pounds in processes and systems to make sure that we can burn tyres in a safe and sound manner, meeting all the legislation, meeting all the environmental limits that we have to.
So where are Britain's tyres disappearing to? A clue lies in the emails Henry Hodge has been receiving.
This is something that started over a year ago, probably 18 months ago. We would get emails through requesting volumes of tyre bales for the export market.
And so other people in the industry were also getting these types of emails?
Everyone that was tyre recycling, be it shredding or baling, was getting an email a week or more from different agents requesting the volume. And it was only when I spoke to colleagues in the industry that we got an idea of the scale of the demand from Asia.
And what we saw around the country certainly suggests there is a surge in exports going on. This dump of over 4,000 tyres in Newport is being cleared and will be shipped to South Korea to be used as fuel. This dump of 150,000 tyres in Worcestershire, its final destination is South Korea. And Britain's biggest ever illegal dump in Hampshire that once topped 2 million tyres also being emptied to fuel the Asian economic boom. It's entirely legal to export waste tyres to South Korea, where factory emissions are controlled. Not so in some other Asian countries, where they burn tyres in factories and workshops with few environmental controls. Henry Hodge can do very little but pass on some of the more suspect email offers he gets to the Environment Agency. We're going to investigate one of those emails ourselves. It comes from a company called Trading 128, which ships on a regular basis from the UK, and now it wants to export Henry's tyres to Malaysia to be recycled. It's legal to export tyres to Malaysia. Trading 128 provided official documents showing Henry's tyres would go to a recycling plant in one of Malaysia's biggest container ports. We got someone to go and check it out. Our man sent us some photos of the address, but the recycling plant doesn't exist. There were no tyres there, and no one had ever heard of a recycling business. So where would Henry's tyres have been sent to? Panorama has discovered that Trading 128 were working with this company, Ancelot International, based in Singapore. Ancelot have told us they only export tyres from the UK to Malaysia. And now we have this, documents from a shipping company, proof that this company were picking up tyres from here in the UK and shipping them all the way to Vietnam. Exporting waste tyres to Vietnam is illegal, but Panorama has details of traffic from 4 locations: Kidwelly and Carmarthen, Lichfield and Elsenham. In the last year, a total of 1.5 million tyres went to Malaysia and then illegally onto Vietnam. Here, waste tyres are big business and their movement is controlled by organised crime gangs. They take the tyres on a 10-hour lorry journey up the country, close to the border with China. There they are smuggled illegally across the border and then burnt in unregulated kilns and furnaces that make ceramics. Not the picture British motorists had in mind when they hand over their recycling fee.
We're talking about serious and organised criminals. These aren't people that just dump a few tyres. We're talking about major money that can actually be made from this type of illegal activity. And they're very complex matters and very complex investigations that my officers deal with.
We're back looking for the man behind Trading 128. The owner is a Mr. Chu Wong. He's also the director of this Chinese takeaway in Exeter. When we went to speak to him, he wasn't there. A few days after our visit, he quit as the director of this restaurant. He's also left the home address where he registered his tyre trading business. Despite a number of requests, he has failed to explain how 1.5 million tyres have ended up illegally in Vietnam. Official figures say only 2 million used tyres a year are exported from the UK. Our investigation shows that just one company can account for 3/4 of that traffic. It suggests the official figures seriously underestimate the volume of exports and the scale of criminality within that trade. There are certainly more raids like this one in the north of England.
We're carrying out an investigation in relation to the illegal exportation of waste tyres to Hai Phong in Vietnam in 2011. we've reason to suspect that these premises are responsible for those exportations, and the people who are actually involved in it are present at this moment in time.
With Asian buyers covering the shipping fees and no disposal costs to bear in the UK, there's money to be made.
However, first of all, as I said, I'm going to get a dog in that's been trained to sniff out cash. That's its primary function. We'll go around here and just see whether there's any large amounts of cash secreted anywhere.
So you suspect they might have money?
They may well be. The money's going somewhere, so we need to see if we can get our hands on it.
Okay.
The sniffer dog didn't find any cash, but there are certainly plenty of tyres. Thousands of them, all collected from garages around here. If convicted, there's a maximum sentence of up to 2 years in prison. DEFRA, the government ministry that oversees this sector, declined to put up a minister to talk about the tyre recycling industry. In a statement, it said it was up to the market to regulate this area. Critics say the free market has failed to ensure more of the recycling fee is invested in a UK-wide recycling system for tyres.
If the green fee collected was reinvested into the recycling system, what difference would that have made to the landscape nationally?
You might have seen more use of tyres in a wider variety of energy recovery facilities, but sadly we seem to have come down with fewer options rather than expanding those options.
Back at his yard in the West Country, Henry Hodge won't export tyres on principle. He thinks British waste should be recycled in Britain. Our photos of the non-existent tyre recycling facility in Malaysia only makes him more determined.
Having seen this, are you now glad that you didn't go into business with these sorts of people?
100%, because we're sold, as the tyre recycling industry, sold the idea that these tyres are going to be dealt with responsibly. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it certainly enforces our case for keeping it all here in the UK.
He's hoping the government will clamp down on all exports, forcing the tyre industry to spend more on recycling in Britain.
Once the money comes back into the tyre collection industry, there'll be reinvestment into the tyre recycling industry, which will ensure that our tyres here in the UK are dealt with in the UK, and we're getting some real value back from that disposal fee.
The government is relying on the market sorting out this problem, but with British jobs at risk while vast amounts of our waste is shipped abroad, can the market provide the solution? On Thursday, a Panorama special tests the science behind the advertising claims of some of sport's biggest brands. Can those pricey trainers prevent injury? Do sports drinks help you work out for longer? Can performance be boosted by sports supplements?
We have to ask, do we want science or show business?
With his career, reputation and family on the line, Daniel faces an impossible dilemma in Blackout next on BBC One. While BBC Three asks if there's an ugly face to the beautiful game. Is football racist? And on BBC Two, the remarkable wartime story of Operation Crossbow.